My name is Charlotte. I'm 27 years old, and for 22 of those years, my parents called me a burden. Not always loudly, not always in front of others, but enough times, enough ways, enough sighs, looks, and whispered conversations behind half-closed doors that the word settled into my bones. Burden. I don't remember the first time I heard it, but I remember the first time I believed it. I was 5 years old. My teacher told my mom I was reading above my grade level. I was so proud. I thought maybe this would be the moment she smiled at me the way she smiled at my sister. Instead, she sighed. Good, she said flatly. At least she's not completely useless. That was the day I learned that achievements didn't make me special. They made me tolerable. My sister, on the other hand, was sunlight, beautiful, confident, loud, the golden child. When she walked into a room, my parents glowed. When I walked in, they adjusted. Every birthday felt like an expense report. Every school trip was a financial complaint. Every mistake was proof that I cost too much: money, time, energy, reputation. If I asked for help with homework, I was ungrateful. If I succeeded, it was luck. If I failed, it was expected. At school, I learned to smile so nobody would ask questions. At home, I learned to shrink so nobody would notice me. Family gatherings for the worst. Aunts would pinch my cheeks and say, "Why can't you be more like your sister?" Uncles would laugh and call me the quiet problem. My parents never corrected them. They nodded. By the time I turned 13, the word burden wasn't just something they said, it was who I thought I was. So I worked harder than anyone. I got part-time jobs. I saved every coin. I stopped asking for things. I thought if I made myself small enough, light enough, useful enough, they would finally see me. When I got into college on a partial scholarship, my father said, "Don't embarrass us by failing." When my sister dropped out twice, they called her brave for finding herself. When I graduated, they skipped my ceremony. She had a party to attend. When I moved out, they didn't hug me. They just reminded me not to leave a mess. Still, I carried their words with me. Every cruel remark, every dismissive laugh, locked away like proof I never thought I'd use. Then came the family reunion. It was supposed to be a celebration, a rented hall, strings of lights, long tables filled with food and noise. I almost didn't go, but something inside me, the part that had survived 22 years of being the burden, wanted to stand in that room one more time and prove I could endure it. When I arrived, my sister was already surrounded by applause. New dress, bright smile, confidence like armor. My parents hovered beside her, proud and glowing. I took a seat near the back, exactly where I had always belonged. After dinner, speeches began. Glasses clinked, laughter echoed. Then my father stood up. He smiled into the microphone, that polished, charming smile reserved for public audiences. He talked about family, legacy, pride, and then he said it. "We only have one daughter we're proud of." The room laughed. My sister laughed the loudest, not awkwardly, not nervously, like it was a joke everyone understood. And in that moment, something inside me didn't shatter, it settled. Calm, clear, certain. For 22 years, they had whispered it. Now they had said it out loud. I didn't cry. Instead, I stood up. My legs shook, but my back was straight. I walked toward the front of the hall. The microphone squealed softly as I passed. Conversations faded. My father looked confused, annoyed, as if I were interrupting something important. I picked up my phone. "Since we're talking about family," I said evenly, "I think everyone deserves to hear the whole story." The room shifted. My mother's smile tightened. I connected my phone to the projector, and I pressed play. At first, just static. Then my father's voice filled the hall. "He's a burden." My mother's voice followed. "You ruin everything. Your sister is the only daughter worth bragging about." Gasps rippled across the room. No one laughed this time. Clip after clip played. Dates, timestamps, years of conversations they thought no one would ever hear. Every accidental recording, every careless confession. I didn't look at anyone. I just let it play. By the 7th minute, my sister stood up abruptly, her chair scraped loudly against the floor. Her perfect image was cracking in real time. She rushed out of the hall. My mother tried to reach me, but my uncle stepped in front of her. "Let it finish," he said quietly. So it did. When the final recording ended, the silence was heavy. Not awkward, honest. I turned around. "For 22 years," I said, "I believed I was a burden. I built my entire life trying to be lighter for people who never wanted to carry me." My father opened his mouth. No words came out. Relatives began murmuring. "Why would you say those things? How could you treat your own child like that?" The story they had controlled for decades had slipped from their hands, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't shrinking. I wasn't apologizing. I wasn't trying to earn my place. I had already taken it. I didn't scream. I didn't wait for an apology. I walked out of that hall lighter than I had ever felt. Outside, the night air felt different. It felt like mine. In the weeks that followed, relatives reached out. Some apologized for not seeing it sooner. Some admitted they had suspected something but stayed silent. My parents called. They wanted to explain, to rewrite history. But the recordings existed now. The truth existed. And I no longer needed their approval to validate my pain. Here's what I learned. Being called a burden doesn't make you one. Silence does. Carrying other people's cruelty does. Believing their version of you does. The night I pressed play wasn't about revenge. It was about release. For 22 years, they gave me a label. That night, I gave it back, and I walked away without it. If you've ever been made to feel like you were too much, too expensive, too inconvenient, you're not a burden. You were just born into people who didn't know how to carry love properly. And one day, when you finally set their words down, you'll realize they were never yours to hold.